Well, there's a whole lot of talk about drones right now, and Trump says either tell us what's going on or shoot them down. One guy actually did this, and I'm going to tell you the result of how that all went down for him. I'm also going to give gun owners my opinion as to whether you should actually take action if you see one of these drones up in the sky over your home. I also want to just kind of fill you in on what's going on with these drones all of a sudden people have been talking about since mid-November. Now, of course, I'm going to give you my opinion. I want to hear yours after the video. No matter if you agree or disagree, let me know what you think. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So there's been reports from quite a few areas, military bases, and really this was brought to the attention by just regular people that there's been drones flying specifically over New Jersey, but this has also been reported in New York, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and California. And these things aren't just flying over people's homes, they're actually hovering, and they're outside of military bases or training grounds. There was one Coast Guard officer, commanding officer, that said a dozen drones was following his lifeguard boat. There's also reports that drones have flown over Trump's golf course up in New Jersey, and there was even an airport, Stewart International Airport, that was shut down for 1 hour because of drone activity in the area. So you have all these reports of people seeing drones with their own eyes, and yet this is the response we get from Biden and his government.
We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat.
We have not seen anything unusual.
Nothing to see here, folks. There's no issue. Everything's good. I promise you guys are safe. Now, what is very interesting and obviously makes that entire statement a lie is the fact that they say they're not sure what they are, but they know they're not a danger. So like a guy breaks into your home, you have no clue who he is. You just assume, though, that he's probably a nice guy and he's not there to do you any harm. This is the same thing that people are feeling. It's an invasion of privacy, and that's why people have gotten so upset with it. So they bring this to the attention of social media, others, politicians, high-level people grasp what's going on. They go out and they actually see this with their own eyes in some cases, bring it to the top officials in the government, and the government says, you guys are silly. There's nothing going on here, nothing to see here.
At this time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary.
And basically, anytime you see any of these clowns, from Biden to Mayorkas to Dettelbach to Christopher Wray to any of them, pretty much, if they tell you that the sky is blue, go out and check for yourself. If they tell you there is no danger, in your heart you should know there's probably a clear danger here on some level. Now, I love the response from Trump, because you have like the mayor of New York saying, hey, we need increased rules and regulations to keep these drones out of the sky. Like, that's the first thing they go to anytime anything like this ever happens. It's always, yeah, let's create more rules because that's going to fix everything. Well, Trump says, hey, you either tell us what's going on or shoot them down. And so one guy actually tried this. This is actually out of Florida. Thomas Wynn suspected a drone of surveilling him. By the way, this was earlier this past year. He just actually kind of settled this whole thing. But he thought this drone was surveilling him. So he pulled out a 9mm pistol. They may or may not have said what type of actual pistol it was, but regardless, he pulled out a handgun, 9mm, and he shot at the thing. Now, apparently he hit it because the Walmart employees that were operating it, when this guy took shots at it, they fled. So they run and they hit, I guess, the return to home, because, all drones, they have a return to home type of setting, right? So I guess they I don't know. They said they returned it to Walmart. I don't know if they returned to home, allowed the drone to go do its thing, because what they were doing is testing delivery service with drones, right? And so you're going to see a lot more of this going on if these companies start utilizing drones, by the way, especially when they get closer and closer to people's homes. But, it's like freaking storks coming in, right? And then what do you do if you're delivering a package and somebody walks out of their home and you got the drone buzzing around and you're trying to lock the door and you walk into the thing. I mean, they're pretty loud, but still, you're going to have some injuries, lawsuits, people shooting these things down. Probably not a great idea. If you need some groceries, there's plenty of apps for that. Use cars, whatever. But hey, that's just where I come from here. That's my thoughts on that. Regardless, this guy shoots it down, and he's ordered to pay $5,000 in fines and restitution for the Walmart drone. But just remember that drones are actually classified as aircraft. So if you take a shot at them, that could end up being a federal crime to you. Would it necessarily? I don't know. But if it's one that looks like a drone and it's manned and you shoot at it, that could obviously, you know, up the charges that you may face. Now, if you have one of these drones come across your home, should you shoot at it? Probably not a great idea. I'm not in the business of telling people what they can or cannot do, right? But just understand, if you do take a shot, just remember that those rules apply to any aircraft, even unmanned aircraft. So you could be costing yourself a lot of money, jail time, or worse, right? The last thing you want to do is mistake one of these things, because they're saying some of these things are huge, like the size of freaking school buses or something. I mean, that's insane. You know, I use a little drone and it's like, I mean, it's fast and it does a great job, but some of these things are massive. So if you accidentally mistake this, and by the way, I'm not saying that people are mistaken identity like Mayorkas says. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if you mistake one for a passenger aircraft, an actual, like, you know, single man aircraft, the last thing you want to do is hurt somebody or worse because you thought it was a drone spying on your place. You got to be really careful with this kind of stuff. And I'm as suspicious as the next person about what's going on here. And that kind of leads us into, what do I think these things actually are? Well, all I know is that if government officials are saying there's nothing to worry about, like I said before, you should probably worry about it, right? They say there's no danger, but they also say we don't really know what they are, which tells me they know what they are. So if I had to guess, it's a part of our own military type of operation. It's not really covert, not at all, obviously, because people are spotting these things, you know, everywhere. But that's what I think. They're testing the waters in some places. They're getting them very close to military bases, and these things still aren't being shot down. I think our government is behind it in some way. What the reasoning is, I don't know. But anytime they tell you they're not a part of it, they probably are, especially this government, which fortunately only has a month left. The other thing is, why the secrecy? If you just told us what was going on, you wouldn't have all these theories floating around, right? You don't have to give out every single detail of, you know, why you're doing it and what's going on and all this. Hey, you know, for your safety, we're conducting this, we're training, whatever. But assuming it is them, it is the government, our own government, freaking tell somebody, right? Stop leaving people hanging, because again, that's when you create more distrust. Now, I don't think they really care, to be quite honest with you, that we don't trust them, right? And even if they did tell us, we probably wouldn't believe them. This is the same government that's taken over 60 years to tell us what happened to one of our presidents from 1963. So do I really expect anything different? No, and that's just one example. But still, if they were actually a little more forthcoming, we would give them the benefit of the doubt if they really didn't know what was going on. But saying, hey, these aren't dangerous, but we don't know what they are, is one of the worst excuses I think I've ever heard. So that's what I think's going on. I think we're running some kind of operation for whatever reason. I don't know, but you're going to be causing a lot more havoc with people. You're testing it out in places like New York, New Jersey, where people aren't as inclined probably to shoot at these things, but you bring that activity further south and you're going to get a different reaction 100%, especially if you get them closer to people's homes. I can assure you of that. And Walmart, by the way, stick to your pickup curbside service. Don't be flying drones next to people's homes. If you're too lazy to go out and get a frickin' toothbrush and some deodorant, maybe you don't need it that bad anyways. I don't know. It's just, there's a certain level to the convenience that we have in this country that I think is just crossing the line, and that's one of them. I wouldn't necessarily recommend shooting them down, but you know, you make your own choices, right? That's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one, and as always, holding down.